Alrighty, welcome everyone. I am Erica Newland and I am a member of Leadership Medina County's Lead Institute Class of 2025 and the Housing Director for the Medina Metropolitan Housing Authority. Thank you for joining us for our second session of our 2024-2025 Nonprofit Lunch and Learn series with the Medina Metropolitan Housing Authority for Next Step Up, the Free Clinic of Medina County, and the Brunswick Educational Access Television. Today's program is made possible by the following civic-minded organizations: Westfield Bank, RPM International, Cleveland Clinic Medina Hospital, Rico Manufacturing, Sandridge Crafted Foods, Revolution Trucking, Huntington Bank, and the Medina County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you for leading the way and bringing conversations like these to life. Since we only have an hour to showcase these three incredible nonprofits, we will share our speakers' bios in the chat today. So let's review some housekeeping and get started. If you have questions during the session, please send them privately to me or in the general chat. I won't use your name when referring to a question. So we will go ahead and get started. Our first speaker is Jessie Kane with Next Step Up.
Hello, thanks for having me. So I will be talking about Next Step Up today. So Next Step Up, I will kind of get into that, but I want to introduce myself a little bit first. So I am Jessie Kane, as Erica said. I am the program director for our emergency housing assistance programs. So I oversee all of our emergency housing programming. So that's our rental assistance, our voucher programs, and also the shelter. So Next Step Up is our newest endeavor that we have officially opened. And I have been with the authority just over 2 years. I am a licensed social worker, so I am a helper by heart. But basically, I oversee the programming, the administration of the programming, which also includes Next Step Up. So I will just get into it if that's okay with everybody. Let me share my screen. All right, so I'm sure everybody knows about Next Step Up. So basically, Next Step Up is Medina County's first emergency housing shelter. So Next Step Up is owned and basically managed by the Housing Authority, but we have opened this nonprofit to basically be able to have the opportunity to get philanthropic and grant funds. So Next Step Up really is, as it says, so it's the first emergency housing shelter, obviously in the county. So the facility, as we kind of go through the slides, is basically a 27-bed facility, but I kind of want to talk about how we got to this point. In 2021, basically there was a study done through the support of a lot of local leaders and stakeholders, basically said that we have a problem. So what came out of that conversation was a study that was done, and the discovery out of the study was, there is a population of homeless here. And we know that there are homeless in every community, in every city. In Medina County, they're elusive, so they're not street homeless as we would think they are in urban cities. But we basically became aware of the problem, and then we were very solution focused about that. So fast forward a couple years, and as of last Friday, the Next Step Up shelter officially opened fully. So it is a 27-bed facility for men, women, children, and pets as necessary. And what that looks like for us is very atypical, because shelters typically do not take both men and women. So we are kind of entrepreneurial in the way that we have done the emergency shelter, but homelessness doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter if you're what race you are, what gender you are, what facet of life that you come from. So we wanted to make it as accommodating for everybody.
Hey, Jessie,
Yeah.
we cannot see your presentation.
That's weird. Okay, one moment.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, I'm sharing it. Like, hold on. That is really, what the heck? Am I still sharing my screen?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Okay, hold on. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. That was weird.
Okay.
Okay. Let's try this one more time. Here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
thank you.
sorry. I'm so sorry. It was up and I didn't realize that. Okay, thanks for letting me know.
That's okay.
Okay, so I've talked about what Next Step Up basically is. So obviously, as I said, the Next Step Up is owned and operated by the Medina Housing Authority, but we have become back just so I can go over. We have become a nonprofit to basically accept contributions. Shelters pretty much rely on grant funding and we rely heavily on donations. So the reason that we became a nonprofit is so that we are successful long term. So MMHA operates, we have basically all staff at Next Step Up are MMHA staff, but we just have the 501c3 designation to us so that we can get the contributions as needed. So Next Step Up has a pretty, we think, a pretty impressive board of directors. I'm not going to go through everyone here, but as we were deciding on the board of directors for our nonprofit, we really wanted to hit every facet as we could. So every industry that we could. So we hit the education, we hit kind of behavioral health along with the jail. We hit obviously people from Wadsworth and Brunswick. And that was important for us as well as someone with lived experience. For us, a person with lived experience giving us input on maybe the way things should go or from their perspective was really important for us as we were creating our policies and procedures. So that's been imperative to kind of how we've established things going forward. So how? So basically the support came from a lot of different people. So Sharon Ray and Mark Romanchuk helped secure funding for the shelter. So the shelter was a $2.05 million basically construction. And then of course the commissioners in the city of Medina also helped in that to make that happen. So we have all of this support that we are incredibly thankful for, because if it wasn't for them, Next Step Up probably wouldn't be operating or even an option today. So where? So Next Step Up, as some MMHA staff are on this call, are familiar with our old administrative building on 850 Walter Road. So it really was right under our nose the whole time to put the shelter here. And I'll just kind of show you this drone. This is a drone footage from above our building. So basically what we're looking at here, that's Court Street, looking straight. And then I'm gonna just hit it and then we can kind of see, we have the Northland properties over here, some of the Ohio Guidestone building, Veterans Administration has the white building with the roof. And of course you have Job and Family Services, the Mental Health Recovery Board, Alternative Paths, quite literally 100 or so yards away for some of these agencies. So that was really important for us when kind of deciding where to put the shelter. And really it's in benefit of our guests, because we know it is important for guests to basically have accessibility to services and resources. So having these agencies and these providers steps away is so important for their success. Okay, so a little bit about our partners. So we partner with a lot of different agencies to help make Next Step Up as successful as it is. Of course, the goal for Next Step Up is to shelter people, of course, provide them with those basic needs, but also connecting them to resources that maybe they haven't been connected to, which is why they're in the situation. So I won't go through all these, but basically these are some of our big partners that we refer our clients to, that help us and kind of understand the needs of what our clients and our guests kind of need. So all of our partners, of course, aren't on here, but these are just some of the ones that we work with to help have our guests take their next steps. And then basically these are just obviously very small areas of the shelter, but the building itself is very modernized. We went away from an institutional setting on purpose. We have no bunk beds. We chose artwork and we chose things that made it feel homey and made it feel welcoming. And hopefully that shows with these pictures, but we don't want it to feel like an institution. We don't want to feel like people are there because, you know, they're in trouble for something. Essentially, this Next Step Up are guest homes, and we want them to feel like that. And then ways to support. So we opened our doors officially on the last Friday, so the 14th. So we're kind of getting in the groove of things. So the next couple of weeks, we will just be focusing on basically working out the kinks. We know that things are going to happen and things are going to come up. So we will be accepting volunteers to help with various things, pets, meals, food. Next Step Up also does accept pets as needed. So that's a volunteer activity that we're thinking. And of course, donating to us so we can assist guests in transitioning out of shelter. Because some people think that, yes, when a guest gets a unit, everything is fine. No, there's still challenges. When someone leaves shelter into housing, they might not have a can opener. They might not have funds to stock their pantry and pay their first month's rent and deposit. So we're hopeful to do things like that with the donations that we get. And then, of course, follow us on social media. So we are on Facebook and LinkedIn. So sharing and following and reposting is important for us to kind of get the word out, because the farther that our reach is, the better we're going to be able to serve our guests. And that's all.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessie, for that information. There's no questions currently, but if there are any questions for you, I will go back to those at the end. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, now we will have Nancy Peacock with the Free Clinic of Medina County.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Peacock, and I decided to start our presentation off with a short video that we made that really explains who we are. So if they would cue that, we would start with that.
I was here because I didn't have no insurance, and I had spoke with the lady and she had referred me over to the clinic, and I called and made an appointment, and they called me back and they told me to come in.
The past year, we started covering the medical prescriptions for all our patients. Now, many of our patients are on patient assistance programs, and those patient assistance programs cover the more expensive medications, but the generic meds do not have those. And people were spending usually close to $400 to $500 a month for some of their generics.
The docs that I see are very nice, well concerned about my health, and made sure that I got everything that I needed. I had a whole bunch of issues that I was dealing with, and they said we would take it one step at a time. So we ended up getting everything done step by step.
Because what happened is I lost my insurance, my Medicaid. I was on Medicaid, and I lost that. So I was looking for something else.
When you're in emergency medicine, you get to see a lot of people who have problems that are the result of them not getting primary care.
I was always working, but I got a couple raises, so I was making more money. So I think that's why they denied me.
And what you're really trying to do is you are trying to make healthcare much more economical. It is much easier to take care of somebody's high blood pressure for $4 a month than provide them with coronary artery bypass surgery or multiple days in an intensive care unit. We don't even want to anticipate how much that's going to cost, but it's more than $4.
Well, I got diabetes, so I take a lot of medication for that, and like a throat issue where food gets stuck in my throat, so that's another thing I have.
So when we started to pay for prescriptions, it just meant for some of these people the difference between having a little extra money at the end of the month, not having to worry, where my medication, will I be able to pay for it? And for many of these people, especially the diabetics and those with hypertension, I mean, it's just been a wonderful opportunity for them.
I thank you very much, because not having a good income coming in, they were able to get the prescriptions for me, and they were free, and I appreciate that.
So every prescription our doctors write now goes to Mark's pharmacy, and they bill us at the end of the month. And for the first time, none of our patients have to make a decision about how should I pay for this? How can I pay for it? They just go there, they get it, and we have now closed the loop on providing the total medical experience for all of our patients.
There's no question that this facility offers a lot to the people of Medina County.
It makes me feel blessed and grateful that there is help out here that you can get, and they will prescribe whatever you need, and they're just the best.
Okay. So that is us in a nutshell. I love seeing actual patients tell our stories because they do such a beautiful job of it, and every patient is unique. When I joined the free clinic about 6 years ago. My entire background was in journalism, and they were looking for someone non-medical, which is totally me, that could explain to the community who we are and what we needed and what we want to provide for people. So that's been my job for the last 6 years. And we've been around actually for 21 years. This is our 21st year, but we didn't have a budget for advertising. So it's all word of mouth, or it can be social media, but word of mouth is what works best. This is where we're located. If you look at the Cleveland Clinic, Medina Hospital, we're on the right side. The left side is all the emergency stuff. The right side, you go down the hill and there's a big parking lot there. And then you go in that entrance D and we are in the North Medical Building. And this is our little waiting room. The Cleveland Clinic graciously provides us with a nice little suite of private medical offices that we can see our patients in. And we want it to feel not cold and sterile. We want it to feel like they're coming to their family doctor. And frankly, a lot of our patients, like the woman you were hearing in our video, she has been with us for probably 5 years and she just aged out. What I mean by that is that she just became eligible for Medicare. So now she's moving on. But that card that you saw at the end was a card that she gave us because she was so touched at all the services we had provided her over the years. And so I thought that was a lovely gesture that she made for us. This is the person on the left is Ann Christie. She's our receptionist. And the person on the right is Vicki Hange, and she's our head nurse. And what she does is she takes all the docs who volunteer for us and turns it into a schedule of their availability. And then our patients are able to sign up for an appointment. And you can, if you have a doctor that you like, you can follow them for years. So literally, it's like having your own family doctor. And what we do is once we sign you up for our services, you are also then eligible for Cleveland Clinic HCAP services, which is the Cleveland Clinic's charity program. So once we see you, we can refer for testing, we can refer for specialists anywhere in the Cleveland Clinic system for free. We've actually had people go on and actually get brain surgery at Cleveland Clinic based on what they needed. So that's why we sign up people for HCAP, because we know we can provide whatever they need after what we do. We're basically family physicians. We also have gynecology. Are you services by appointment only? Yes. The reason we are is that our docs some are still in private practice and some are retired, but they are all volunteer. So there's absolutely no money that we have to spend on medical services, and our nurses too. Because of that, we have clinics that are already set up. Now, let's say you need emergency services. You're already cleared through Cleveland Clinic HCAP service and you're eligible. So if you do need to go to the ER, you can do that. However, most of the time people need maintenance. They need maintenance on their diabetic issues, high blood pressure, and chronic illnesses that typically people without insurance ignore because it's just too expensive to have to face that stuff. So instead, they make sure that they come, and we make sure that they come, and they come and get follow-up services so that they're not going from one medical crisis to the next. And that takes them out of the ER, which saves Cleveland Clinic a lot of money. So it's a mutually beneficial thing, and it's worked very well in the last 21 years. So we do primary care visits. We do gynecology for all sorts of women's health. We do referrals to specialists. And then we also we just instituted this a year ago. We set up a program with Mark's Pharmacy. And when we prescribe prescriptions for our patients, you have to be a patient of ours. But if you are, you can take your prescription to Mark's, and we have a little voucher that we staple on it, and all your prescriptions are free. And then Mark's bills us at the end of the month and we pay their cost for what it cost them. And so we can provide free prescriptions. And as I said in that video, this is the first time that we could make sure that we were not only providing what they needed in terms of medical care, but also the prescriptions. I mean, what good is it to prescribe prescriptions if they can't afford to fill them? So that's been a huge plus for us. And here's a couple kids. We also do free physicals for any student in Medina County. All you have to do is be a student. And if you want to be on a sports team, or if you want to go to camp and you need a physical, or if you want a work permit, you come in and we do free physicals regardless of income levels, because for a couple reasons. It's expensive for all families to have kids in sports, no matter who they are. And so what we try to do is take off that annual fee, which a lot of times insurance doesn't cover. And then if there's 3 kids in sports, that really adds up. So we want to make it affordable to be in sports for the community. And our docs and nurses love this part of it. Now, do I qualify? Here's the 3 things you need to know. You can't have any health insurance. Why? Because if you do, you'll get billed. And we can't avoid that. So you can't have any health insurance. And that includes Medicaid and Medicare. So you have to be between 18 and 64 to be in our group of patients, or unless you're kids and we're doing your physical. You have to live or work in Medina County. And we do that because some of the organizations that have supported us financially have that as a stipulation. So those are the 3 things. Now, next slide. Here's how it typically works. If your income, let's say you're a household of 1, if your income is less than 20,000, you automatically qualify for Medicaid. So you already have that insurance. But if 20,000 to 37,000, you have nothing, because typically a lot of people either have no insurance. Well, they have no insurance. So, and then that number, that 37,000, is 250% of the federal poverty line. So you can see if there's 2 people in a household, you can make up to 51, 3, you can make up to 64, 4, you can make up to 78,000. And if you have no insurance, we will cover you. This is our contact information. You can find us quite easily on the internet at fcomc.org. And also you can call the clinic. What we ask people to do is call the clinic, and then you can leave a message on that machine. Our head nurse is part-time, so she will then call you back, get your health history, make sure. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't have any insurance," and then they say, "Well, but I have Medicaid." Well, then you have insurance, because that's government insurance. And until the federal government decides to take that away from everyone, and that's another issue of ours. We're worried that with the way things are going, that people might lose their Medicaid, and we want to be there so that people have coverage. So our chart might look very differently if Medicare or Medicaid gets cut or reduced. So what we're trying to do is respond and make sure that everyone in Medina County can afford good health insurance and good follow-up. And that's my presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. And thank you for answering that question that came through the chat while you were going through your presentation. Okay, next up we have John Wasylko from Brunswick Educational Access Television.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and that's the BEAT video program. BEAT stands for Brunswick Educational Access Television, but the name is very deceiving because we're much more than what those four letters stand for. If there's two things that I'm hoping that you take away from my presentation is number one, that you have an award-winning, nationally recognized group of 40 students, grades 6 through 12, that are representing all of Medina County, producing content. I believe we're the only program of its kind in the nation. So hopefully you're proud to know that there are great groups of students like ours in the Beat that represent uh, Medina County in hopefully a positive way. The second thing that I hope you take away is that the BEAT program and its students are here to serve all of you. What I always like to tell the students is everyone in Medina County has a story, whether you're a business, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you are a group, whether you're an individual, you all have stories, and they're very positive and powerful stories. And what we like to do is we like to shine a light on all that's good about Medina County. And so our students are mobilized to produce between 300 and 400 stories a year that spotlight all that's good about Medina County. So that's hopefully that'll be the takeaway. Now I'll just kind of dig a little bit into what I just said. A little bit of background about myself. Um, One second. Here we go. A little bit about myself. I've been involved in communications, video, print, social media for about over 40 years, um, producing everything from print, video, podcast, social media for corporate and educational clients. Worked for companies and still do. Actually, I still do produce podcasts for Ernst & Young, but I've worked for corporations like Dominion Resources. And in the educational sector, I've worked for the Brunswick Schools and Cuyahoga Falls Schools. So doing their communications. And I guess I'm the founder of the BEAT program, but actually it was started through a conversation that I had with superintendent at the time, Jim Hayes, where we talked about that there was a lot of interest when I would go to all of the schools in Brunswick and with my video camera or write stories or produce content. And a lot of students would come up to me and say, hey, that looks like fun. How can I get involved? And one thing led to another, and Superintendent Hayes blessed the program, which we started in 2000 and we're still doing today. So who is the BEAT program? Like I said, the BEAT video program is a nationally recognized award-winning team. We've won state awards, we've won national awards in the 25 years we've been in existence. Our program is consisting of 40 backpack journalists from grades 6 through 12, and there's no one doing something like this. Each student has to produce 6 news stories and 6 videos a year to stay in the program. They have 6 weeks to do each story, and they have to turn them in on deadline. It's a student-driven program, which means that we have 2 students who have been in the program that serve as managers. One is a journalism manager, one is a technical video manager. And these students, for the most part, are teaching every week. They're teaching content, basics of journalism, basics of TV production. And then this is all put into motion when the students are producing their stories. We're going to be, how we add our students is in March and April. We go and speak to all of the 5th grade students that are going to be coming into 6th grade, all of the middle school students and high school students, and they have to openly apply to be in the program, just like a job. They have to fill out an application. They have to send in 3 letters of recommendations from their teachers, and then they have to come in and do a face-to-face interview with the BEAT managers and myself. And from that, they are able to be considered for the program. And again, what our students do is not only spotlight Brunswick, it's very important that they reach out and cover all of Medina County, businesses, nonprofits, and individuals. It's very important we want to be the content creators for Medina County, and we send all of our content to over 20 news outlets throughout Northeast Ohio. So I'll get into that a little bit as I continue on. What are we doing? Well, our students are learning to be storytellers by creating content, fact-based content. Their goal this year is to produce 400 articles and video productions that are published by Northeast Ohio Media. Currently, they're at 283. So with 2 months to go, we have a chance to actually meet our goals. We're completely self-funded. We have sponsors for our program, and we try to raise $15,000 to $20,000 a year to do our program. And what that does is it pays for all of the bills we have to run our cable channel, which is on Spectrum, but can be seen, it's streamed worldwide. But we also budget a small portion to pay our managers, because we think the best way for students to learn, well, if they're going to invest the time to do a job, as our beat managers do, we like to make sure that they are compensated. And so it's very important that we compensate our students. And this keeps our students, this is showing respect to them, but it also keeps them motivated. And like I said, we're an award-winning video program.
There are a lot of great.
I'm just, without further ado, we're going to have our students tell you a little bit about who they are in their own words. So here we go.
There are a lot of great stories in Medina County that people really don't know about. We try and spotlight every one of them.
The Beat is a group of 50 student backpack journalists, grades 6 through 12, who meet every Saturday at our high school.
We write news stories and produce videos about what's happening in Medina County.
You need to produce 6 news stories and videos to be in the program.
Our videos are seen on a cable channel that we manage.
Did you know our articles are published in newspapers in Northeast Ohio? Last year, over 300 were published.
It's just really great to have this local journalism program in our community, especially when you're trying to cultivate the next generation of people who love newspapers and read newspapers. It's perfect to have them right here.
So what's fun, as you can see in the video, is we have 6th graders and 12th graders working together and showing respect towards each other. That's a very, very important component of our program. It mimics the real world, because we have people of different ages working in the corporate sector and businesses, and we want them to realize that regardless of age or experience, we all work together, and as we work as a team, we grow and we succeed. And so we're trying to teach life skills as we're doing this. And what's interesting as well is not every student who is in the Beat wants to be a journalist or a TV producer when they graduate from high school, but they want to improve in their communication skills. They want to improve in their ability to connect with people that are older with them, and they want to have a voice. And what we feel is we're cultivating 40 plus unique voices who all bring unique and interesting perspectives to our community and to our program. What's interesting about our program is we're not a full-time program. We only meet on Saturdays from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So the fact that our students come in on Saturdays and produce this content when they could be at home is really cool. If you were to come to a typical day at the Beat at 9 o'clock, we would have our meetings where our Beat veterans are teaching our first year and our veterans different production skills. And then at 10 o'clock, the studio is open and the students are working on their segments. They can be doing interviews, they can be editing, they can basically, their whole studio time is done on Saturdays. And our studio was donated by Fox 8 Cleveland. So it's a really nice looking, very professional studio. It's housed in the Brunswick High School. And again, that's where the students meet. To become a part of the Beat, you can join anytime between grades 6 through 12. And like I said, applications, we actually have moved it up a little bit. We're starting to get the applications out now, and we will be selecting candidates in mid-May. and bring on our next students to the beat. Why do we do it? Well, it gives the beat gives students a lot of valuable opportunities. It gives them a chance to manage something. Back when I was growing up, I had lots of opportunities to work and earn money before I was 16. That seems to be less for this generation. And so we like to create ways that they can have leadership roles, and they don't necessarily, the older students aren't necessarily the ones selected to lead the program. It's usually the best candidate. So if we have an 8th grader that happens to be better than a couple of 11th graders we have, we usually select the 8th grader because that person earned the right to do it. We have paid positions. Our stories are published. They're seen not only throughout Medina County, but all throughout Northeast Ohio. They learn career skills like how to write an email, how to approach a person, how to do a one-on-one communication, how to gather facts, how to hit deadlines. The beat also connects students to their community. Some students may not know about all the cool things that are going on in Lodi or Valley City or Hinckley. But this is the way for our students to actually broaden their knowledge and appreciation of Medina County. We also have fun throughout the year. We'll go and take field trips. We've been at Fox 8, Channel 19, Cleveland Monsters. We like to get behind the scenes field trips of what's like to work at the Rocket. And then celebrity encounters. And here you see my daughter, Hannah, who back when she was in the beat, she had the opportunity to interview Anderson Varejao from the Cleveland Cavaliers. And basically her story is interesting. She came to us one time and she said, I wonder if Christmas is different in different parts of the world. And I said, well, give me an example. She said, well, like Brazil, I wonder if Christmas is the same in Brazil as it is in the United States. And I said, well, who can you interview to find this out? And she goes, well, I was thinking of contacting Anderson Varejao. So we sent out an email and they said, yeah, Anderson would love to talk with her. Next thing you know, she created a great story, and it was published all around Northeast Ohio. And it was actually, I thought, a pretty creative way to meet one of her favorite players too. How do you get involved in the beat? Well, if you know of any great students that you feel fit this category, of what we're trying to do, please reach out to me anytime. If you want to become involved, like I said, we do raise funds to keep the program going. We have corporate and personal sponsorships. Usually, if a corporation would like to sponsor us for a year, it's $3,000 a year. And again, all of those funds go towards supporting the program. Probably the most important way you can support us is I post a lot of actually, every story that's published, I post on my social media, and you'll see the links here. If you could please follow me, and when you see a story published by a beat reporter, please share it, please like it, because this really pumps up our students. This makes them feel like they really matter, and that's very important to us. I want to thank you so much for giving me the time, and I also wanted to say this too, because I think this is kind of the power of the beat. One of our students did a story on Next Step Up, and this was just before Next Step Up was to open. So this was the early stages. And our student did the story. We sent it out to our 20 media outlets, and Channel 5 saw the story. And they said, we would like to come out and do a live shot for Next Step Up. And we were so proud because our story was seen by a media outlet, and they chose to come out to cover a positive news story about Medina County. And that's what we're all about. If our stories can help educate all of the media outlets about the good things that are going on in Medina County, then we feel we've done something. So let us help you in any way we can, and thank you for the time.
All right, thank you so much, John, for that information. And on behalf of MMHA, thank you for making, that kind of connection like you just spoke about with Next Step Up. That's really great. Okay, so thank you to all of our speakers. If anybody has any last quick minute questions or thoughts, you can go ahead and put those in the chat. In the meantime, we will be launching a poll for our Lunch and Learn series. And if you would take that poll, it's going to rate, you can rate different questions and things like that. So thank you again to all of our speakers. We would also like to thank all of our nonprofits who have participated this year or will be participating. We will be having our third session in April. And if you missed any of the series or would like to go back to the first, our videos can be found on our website. So one thing that Terry did put in the chat is that we would love to have the Beat come and video any of our leadership program days or any of our graduations that are coming up in April and May. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it. We hope you all have a great day.